Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Roland Orange, and together with my colleague Anna Maria Urbanova from the Quarks Foundation, we'll be having a day 3 match. So this is the third match for the two teams in the Group A. We have OP Jindal Global University in India, and as well we have the University of Bologna in Italy. These two teams received the topic a week ago, and they will be debating this time, of course, on different themes on the two first match that we'll talk about a bit more. But we would like, of course, to welcome them, giving them the floor. So we start with Miss Cheren Oshkan in Bologna. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Ceren Özcan. I'm from Turkey, and now currently I'm doing my master's degree in University of Bologna in legal studies. I wish you all the great experience of this match. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and welcome. We would like as well to hear from OP Jindal Global University, Orshia Sarkar. Welcome.
Hello, I am Orshia Sarkar. I am from OP Jindal Global University. I am currently in my third year of BA LLB, which is the undergrad law program in our college. Thank you to the organizers and all the best to our opponents. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome. And we have as well in Bologna Maria Vittoria Soldatelli Silvia Bastian.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Vittoria Soldatelli. I'm from Brazil, and I'm currently studying my master's degree in legal studies at the University of Bologna. I wish you all a pleasant match today, and I'm sure it's going to be extremely productive for both sides.
Thank you and welcome. And now I would like as well to give the floor, of course, to Miss Sarah Bargava. Welcome.
Good morning, honorable judges and my learned opposite counsels. I am Sara. I too am in my third year of my law degree, which I'm currently pursuing from OP Jindal Global University. Again, I am extending a thank you to the organizers for providing us with this opportunity to partake in this discussion. I am extremely excited to have an enlightening discussion on the motion hand today. Also, it's a full circle for both teams, I believe. We had our friendlies together. I'm very excited to see how both the teams have come so far throughout the course of this competition. All the best.
Thank you and welcome. We have as well, of course, Mr. March, Alessandro Roberto March. Voilà.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alessandro Marsh. I'm from South Africa, and I'm pursuing my master's degree in legal studies at the University of Bologna. I'm very excited for our match today and extremely grateful to have it with the esteemed opposition. It's good to see you again.
Thank you, welcome. And as well on the side of OP Jindal Global University, Sai Prasad Sri Arsh. Welcome.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good afternoon to everyone present here and good afternoon to everyone watching from India. My name is Sai Prasad Sriharsh. I'm studying law in OP Jindal Global University. It's my fourth year studying law here, and I'm very thankful to the organizers for giving us the opportunity to debate, and all the best to my opponent team. Hopefully we've grown from our friendlies and we'll see the outcome today.
Thank you and welcome. And we send greetings as well to the coach. I see already Mr. Budinelli. Welcome.
Hello, Monsieur Laurent. Pleasure to be here with all of you, and I wish the best for both of the teams, and that you might take this amazing opportunity to network and improve your international law skills and all the things of the such. So, a blessing to be here with all of you.
Thank you and welcome, and thank you. And we send greetings as well to the two other coach, Guleykan Yildiz and Mahmoud Bayramov. On the side of OP Jindal Global University, so I don't know who is connected currently, but we have two coaches, Krishash and Namrat Amadou Ragunat. So of course, if you...
Good morning and good afternoon. Yeah. We are present, but unfortunately we cannot have our cameras on given that we are in class that we could not escape. Yeah. But nonetheless, we wish both teams the very best of luck. And as our teammates said, it's great to have this full circle moment where we've met each other in our friendlies and we're here again. And we extend our best wishes to both teams and hope that we have a productive match ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and we send greetings to your professor if you are in class at this moment. So the topic that you received a week ago was underwater wrecks, including those of World War II warships, should be classified as cultural heritage under international maritime and heritage law. So now, we share my screen, and we'll do, of course, we'll see the wheel for the allocation of positions. So sometimes it takes a bit of time, so I hope if you can see... Is visible? Okay. So now you can see that there is a wheel with the two double flags of each institutions. Two possibilities to be in favor or to be against the motion, and the team will be in favor will be starting with the first introduction of 4 minutes. So for this match, this will be OP Jindal Global University will be against the motion. So it means as a consequence, the University of Bologna will be in favor of the motion and will be starting with the first introduction. Concretely, Bologna will be defending the position that underwater wrecks, including those of World War II warships, should be classified as cultural heritage under international maritime and heritage law. On the other side, OP Jindal Global University, you will be defending underwater wrecks, including those of World War II ships, are not supposed to be classified as a cultural heritage under international maritime and heritage law. So now you will have 5 minutes to review your notes, and I will be starting with the introduction of Bologna in 5 minutes. So
Thank
we
you, everyone.
Mhm.
Your time for final preparation has now passed. We'll proceed by hearing the opening arguments, but of course, first a reminder, you will be getting visual cues for my video, yellow for 30 seconds left, and red for your speaking time being up. If you see a red card, don't cut yourself short. You still can comfortably conclude your sentences. And thus, without further ado, University of Bologna, you have 4 minutes for your opening.
Honorable judges, we stand before you to defend the motion. The ocean guards one of our greatest historical archives, but we risk treating it as nothing more than a graveyard of abandoned property. To address this, we must recognize that classifying underwater wrecks as cultural heritage does not oppose the existing maritime order. In fact, it provides a specialized framework that is necessary to give full effect to the protection intended by it. Our position rests on 3 points. First, the heritage mandate as a safeguard against commercial exploitation. Second, the structural interdependence of maritime law and heritage law regarding the protection of underwater wrecks. And third, the application of purposive interpretation regarding modern naval remains. So first, we shall defend the necessity of the heritage mandate to safeguard underwater wrecks against commercial exploitation. And this is because maritime law alone cannot give them full protection, while Article 303.1 of the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea establishes a general duty of protection to objects found at sea. Article 303.3 creates a vulnerability by stating that this duty does not affect the law of salvage. And we must remember that the law of salvage, which is codified in the International Convention on Salvage, is fundamentally a property-based system that rewards the recovery of lost vessels for profit, as demonstrated in its Articles 1, 12.1, and 13.1. But classifying underwater wrecks as cultural heritage would protect them from this. Because, as a general rule, Article 4 of the UNESCO Convention on the Protection of the Underwater Cultural Heritage excludes them from being submitted to the law of salvage. And this brings us to our second argument, the legal necessity of applying both maritime and heritage regimes due to their structural interdependence. While Article 303.1 of UNCLOS establishes a general duty of protection, it uses the vague terminology of objects of an archaeological and historical nature found at sea without providing the specific legal criteria to categorize these objects. But this void can be filled by Article 1.1a of the UNESCO Convention, which defines what is underwater cultural heritage and which objects classify as such. And this includes vessels. Besides, Article 3 of the UNESCO Convention's mandate that it must be interpreted and applied in the context of and consistently with UNCLOS. Finally, we shall address the application of purposive interpretation regarding modern naval remains, such as the ones from the Second World War. While Article 1.1a of the UNESCO Convention establishes that wrecks must have been underwater for at least 100 years, this is intended as a minimum floor for automatic protection, not one exclusionary limit. Here, we must apply the rules of treaty interpretation under Article 31.1 of the Vienna Convention on the Law of the Treaties, which mandates that a treaty be interpreted in light of its object and purpose, a principle confirmed by the International Court of Justice in the Gaptovanajmaros case. And the primary object of the UNESCO Convention is the protection of all underwater cultural heritage, as per Article 2.1. So we cannot interpret the 100-year threshold of Article 1.1a to remove protections from historically significant wrecks, because this would effectively frustrate the very purpose of the UNESCO Convention. To conclude, the classification of underwater wrecks as cultural heritage is the only way to effectively protect our history. If we do not define our past as heritage today, what will be left for the generations of tomorrow? For these reasons, the motion must stand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now hear the opening statement for the against position. OP Jindal Global University, you have 4 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chair, esteemed judges, and our worthy opponents. Am I audible?
You are.
I will begin at the reverse countdown of 3, 2, 1. The motion before this House is underwater wrecks, including those of World War II warships, should be classified as cultural heritage under international maritime and heritage law. The opposition stands firmly against this motion. We are not against protecting underwater wrecks. Some of the most comprehensive wreck protection programs in the world operate entirely without the mechanism that the motion proposes. They work because they are calibrated to sovereignty, capacity, and diplomatic reality rather than imposed by a universal label from above. We oppose the motion's blanket universal classification that has no defined legal test, no classifying body, no specified consequences, and no answer to the jurisdictional impossibility at its heart. The motion asks states to accept an instrument heavier and less defined than the one the world's most important naval powers have already refused. That is not international law, that is wishful thinking. We will demonstrate our position through three contentions. First, the pluralist framework is the system international law was designed to produce. Convention on the Law of the Seas, Article 303, was left thin because states chose not to create a universal enforcement regime. 3034 anticipated supplementary agreements between willing states because the law of the sea is a zone based, consent driven architecture. Where states have chosen to act, the results are comprehensive. The US Sunken Military Craft Act manages over 17,000 military wrecks globally. The Baltic states have built a comprehensive World War II wreck register through domestic law and regional cooperation for decades. Mere treaty ratification without enforcement culture changes nothing operationally. Classification acts as a distraction. Number two, the states that own the overwhelming majority of World War II naval wrecks, that is, the US, the UK, Russia, Japan, Canada, and Australia, they have not ratified the UCH Convention. The Convention's mechanisms are incompatible with their sovereignty interests. The UK Ministry of Defense reviewed Articles 9 and 10 and called them totally unacceptable. Even with sovereign immunity formally preserved on paper, a mechanism that requires a flag state to seek a coastal state's cooperation to access its own sunken warship is seen as sovereignty interference. The US objected to creeping coastal state jurisdiction. Russia's position mirrors both. The proposition asks this House to accept that states which declined a framework with explicit sovereignty carve outs will accept a blanket classification with none. But when every state with the Rex, with the capacity, and the most to lose has said no, the answer is not a bigger framework with even less consent. Finally, number three, the motion cannot answer three fundamental questions: who has jurisdiction, who governs, and what happens when states fail to comply. Under UNCLOS Article 56, the coastal states' EEZ rights are limited to natural resources. Articles 95 and 96 grant warships complete immunity from any jurisdiction other than the flag state. So, for a World War II warship in another state's EEZ, the coastal state has no heritage jurisdiction and the flag state has full immunity. On governance, when the Soviet Union dissolved, its naval wrecks passed on to no single successor state. British colonial warships sunk in now sovereign independent states carry questions of flag identity that have never legally been resolved. The motion has no answer because there is no agreed international authority empowered to give one. UNESCO also has no enforcement arm. The ICJ and the ITLAs require consent to jurisdiction. The UCH Convention's only mechanism is diplomatic pressure. The 1970 Convention's import prohibition machinery requires active enforcement by receiving states that have demonstrated that they will not prioritize it. Honorable members, the law already has the tool to protect these wrecks. What it requires is the political will to use them state by state, case by case, and through the mechanisms that the states will actually enforce. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will hear the first rebuttal for the in favor position, University of Bologna, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, honorable judges. I noted very gladly that the esteemed opposition reaffirmed our shared conviction that we have to protect these heritage sites. The question we're facing is how we best do that effectively and what legal framework provides for this. Now, the esteemed opposition mentioned that the nature of these shipwrecks is that they're scattered across the global seabed. They're in economic exclusive zones of other states. They're beyond jurisdictional waters. And so the fact is states lack the regulatory authority to cope with this. This is why in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, Article 303 explicitly places a duty on states to protect these sites. And so we have a duty, an effective duty, that comes from maritime law. Now, as my colleague mentioned, we then find the mechanisms to achieve this through the implementation of heritage law, under the UNESCO Convention of 2001, where Articles 9 and 10 provide for reporting duties, provide for coordinated international efforts that ensure protection. Now, what the opposition is essentially saying is we have a system that works on the whims of political states, on the whims of powerful countries. My question to the opposition is exactly how we can be sure that states will affect these changes and affect this protection when every piece of law outside of maritime and heritage law concretely lacks a duty to do so. The opposition claimed that there are no mechanisms, there is no governing body. This is precisely what maritime law and heritage law is seeking to provide. And if we follow it, we have a coordinated attempt at protection and not a fragmented, whimsical attempt at national sovereignty. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the first rebuttal in the against position, OP Jindal Global University, 2 minutes.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
You are.
Okay. Good afternoon, respected members of the House and esteemed opponents. I will begin at the reverse countdown of 3, 2, 1. The learned proposition makes some compelling points, and we genuinely value their concern for the protection of underwater heritage. However, a compelling concern is not the same as a workable solution here. And today we will show exactly where their reasoning falls short. The learned opposition's opening speaker talks about how a heritage mandate would be against commercial exploitation. And the proposition claims that heritage classification would be the tool that can close the market for looted wreck materials. But the other legal frameworks already do this without it. The opposition also claimed the 1989 Salvage Convention excludes warships. Claims that 1989 Salvage Convention does not work, but it also entirely excludes warships and allows states to opt out of commercial salvage rules for cultural property. Interpol's work of art unit recovers looted cultural objects across borders with no heritage classification required. The real question is not whether the legal tools exist, they do. The question is whether states choose to use them. Classification is not going to does not create that choice. Political will create that choice, and a state unwilling to enforce existing law will be equally unwilling to enforce a new one. Our opposition also talks about how World War II wrecks need to be protected and the 100-year-old gate should not be a hard and fast rule. The UCH Convention already answers this. Article 1.4 explicitly permits any state party to extend equivalent protections to sub-threshold objects, including World War II wrecks, though through voluntary domestic designation, and France, Spain, Portugal have done exactly this through national legislation. So the mechanism already exists. Hence, as proven by these rebuttals, the proposition's concerns are not unfounded, they're misdirected. The problem they identify is real. The mechanism they propose cannot solve them. The opposition stands.
The second rebuttal, University of Bologna.
Thank you very much, honorable judges. My esteemed colleague of the opposition has just spoke about a system based on political wills, on the wills of states. Previously, I spoke about the importance of the maritime frameworks and cultural heritage frameworks to impose duty. But the law does something more than just imposing duties. It creates incentives. The law outside of maritime and heritage law mentioned by the honorable opposition can be described as follows. Ships that are sinking are described as property in peril. And this works exceptionally well for accidents happening now at sea, because it incentivizes salvors to recover these goods and restitutes them to the states concerned. It does not work well for the preservation of important archaeological historical sites. Okay? In fact, it incentivizes their destruction and their dismantling for monetary gain. How do we solve this? We have a solution to this. We look once again to the UNESCO Convention of 2001, where Article 2 tells us and provides us with the doctrine of preservation in situ. The idea that these wrecks cannot be touched unless it is scientifically justified to do so. Article 4 also excludes the application of salvage laws to this framework. Courts have also begun to endorse this view. We can look at the case of RMS Titanic Incorporated, where the court explicitly made it clear that we cannot merely classify ships as commercial property. This is exactly what frameworks outside of heritage and maritime law seek to do. And so I ask the esteemed opposition, how exactly do we want to incentivize states? Do we want to provide incentives that encourage protection and of course allow for their participation in a sovereign manner? Or do we want to incentivize the maximization of private profits and treasure hunting? Thank you.
Thank you. For the opposition, OP Jindal Global University.
Am I audible?
You are.
Okay, so I will begin at the reverse countdown of 3, 2, 1. So my learned opponents here have time and again cited UNESCO's 2001 UCH Convention, which basically protects underwater cultural heritage. What we want to be noted right here is that this is a misrepresentation of the motion right here, because we ourselves as the opposition do understand the importance and the relevance of preserving cultural heritage, especially when it comes to underwater wrecks. We are not against what UCH stands for. We stand for it as well, but as understood from how UCH works, it allows for state consent. It allows state parties to decide when and where they can slightly derogate from these provisions. What the motion asks us to do today is to go over and above this, to go beyond this and bind all nations irrespective by this binding treaty. And the issue with regards to this would be that it goes against what international law itself stands for, right? So it also will have an issue in the sense that our opposition here is not targeting the motion and not stating why we need a universal classification that will mandate every nation to follow through. The only thing they support as well is the fact that the UCH works, and UCH works alongside pluralist and regional frameworks, which is what we support as well. So I would just like to end my statement by saying that it is proven by these rebuttals that propositions' concerns are understood, but the problem they identify and the mechanism they support do not stand. Thank you.
Thank you. We have heard the rebuttals. The University of Bologna, you have 2 minutes for your concluding statements.
Thank you so much. Honorable judges and esteemed colleagues, as we close this debate, we must ask ourselves, is the ocean floor a graveyard of history to be protected or a scrapyard to be looted for profit? While we acknowledge the opposition's concerns regarding sovereign immunity, we believe that they constantly overlook the fact that a state's primary responsibility is not to the metal of its ships, but to the sanctity of its history. We must protect our past from the market. Otherwise, we will be left with no legacy to even exercise sovereignty over. My teammates have expertly established the legal bridge between UNCLOS Article 303 and UNESCO 2001 Convention, which provides specific tools to stop the law of salvage from turning our history into a commodity. The opposition is stuck on a strict interpretation of the 100-year rule, but as we've argued, applying a rigid timeline to World War II wrecks leads to an absurd result, leaving the very site that defined our modern world vulnerable to explosions simply because they haven't reached an arbitrary birthday. We're not just talking about wood and steel, we are talking about collective memory. When a private salvo rips apart a World War II grave for its metal, they aren't recovering property. They are erasing a chapter of human existence. Honorable judges, as we conclude, we must remember that a nation's legacy is not measured by the iron it owns, but by the history it preserves. By classifying these wrecks as cultural heritage, we move from a property-based system of greed to a values-based system of preservation. Let us not allow the love of salvage to win over the duty of memory. For this reason, and with deeper respect for the collective interest of human existence, underwater wrecks, including those World War II warships, should be classified as cultural heritage under international maritime and heritage law. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your concluding statements. And for the conclusion in the against position, OP Jindal Global University.
Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible.
You are.
All right. I will begin at the reverse countdown of 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, honorable judges and our esteemed opponents. I intend to do two things: restate what we've proved and show why the proposition's mechanism collapses under their own law. At the outset, come back to what this debate is really about: whether we adopt a workable, consent based system for egg protection or a universal label that sounds elegant but cannot answer jurisdiction, governance, or enforcement. We established three things. First, the existing legal architecture is pluralistic by design. UNCLOS allocates competence by zones and expects supplementary agreements by consent, not a universal mandate. Second, the key players. The states that own the vast, overwhelming majority of World War II wrecks have deliberately refused the UNESCO 2001 regime. A stricter universal classification is not going to miraculously alter that. Third, even if you like their intent, their framework just cannot answer basic legal questions. Who has jurisdiction in the EEZ? Who governs sovereign immune warships? What enforcement follows when key states ignore it? The contentions of our opposing counsel stand discredited too. They have repeatedly and constantly talked of commercial exploitation. They cited instances of industrial looting and that the set current pluralistic framework has failed. However, we agree the crisis is real, but the inference is wrong. It is not a definitional issue. We have
Congratulations on not just wrapping up your day 3 of the Hague Inter-University Law Debate Tournament of 2026, but wrapping up your group phase of this edition and actually being the first teams to do so, as it is the first day 3 debate of this week. So well done to your teams. And as always, the judges have the time to take the recording, or perhaps already now they're watching on the live stream of the debate and submit their scorecards. But as always, you also have the opportunity to reflect on the topic and on the exchange you had between the two teams. And with that note, I would like to invite the University of Bologna's Ms. Soldatelli. How did you find the topic today, and did you hear familiar arguments from your research for the opposing side?
I found it quite difficult to research because it's once again, a very technical topic to debate. And I feel like the opposition did brought some great arguments about it, but this is an instance where we have to really try to understand what the conventions are saying and how do we deal with multiple conventions and multiple rules. So it's quite a challenging situation to be in. So I would like to congratulate them first for their wonderful participation, and also thank the competition once again for this very insightful topic on our part.
Thank you. Ms. Sarkar of Jindal Global University, same question.
So am I audible? I would like to begin by firstly congratulating my opponents. It was a very interesting match, and they brought up a lot of points that we had come across in our research. However, the way they framed it was very different to how we had framed it originally. Other than that, a huge thank you to the organizers for having this debate, for letting us meet so many new people, and having the chance to debate international topics on this kind of a forum. And something about the topic that I found really interesting was that there was no one way to look at it. There were many different angles we could take from it. The previous topics, at least from what I had found, was that there was a sort of way that both the opposition and the proposition would be going at it. However, in this topic, I felt that there were so many avenues and so many things that everyone could do, and I think the opposition did that commendably as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Oskan of University of Bologna, how did you find the exchange today?
Well, to be honest, I thought that the topic was super technical and requires a lot of research. But I cannot. I was thinking when I first see the topic was the defending the con side will be super hard because all the conventions and international law was on the favor of the pro side. But our opposition, they did great. They did a great job and they defended really well. So I'm surprised at what I learned from their um, defense, basically. And thank you for this opportunity once again. I think it was a great match, like the first match we had with them.
Thank you. Mr. Sriharsh of Jindal Global University.
Hello, am I audible? Yes, okay. So thank you so much to the organizers, first of all, for giving us a topic of this sort, which has so much relevance in today's day, and especially so technical that it requires a certain level of diligence on our part as well. So we go over and above being just law students and do some real hardcore research for this. So that was exciting, and that was also, it was taxing, definitely, but it was a great experience. And to see our opposition and the way they structured the arguments, the way they argued upon it was also amazing, because we had deliberated upon the other side as well. So we understood from where they come from and how much research is put in from their side as well. So very great performance from on the opposition as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Marsh of Bologna.
Yes, thank you. The topic itself was very interesting because it was one of those moments where you read a simple prompt, not realizing that there's, excuse the metaphor, an ocean of content to go through after you see it. As far as the debate itself today, it was really exciting to see this team again. And genuinely, I really respected and enjoyed actually the fact that in each instance they responded exactly to what we were saying. They constantly made reference to us in their arguments, they quoted us, and that's what I think a debate should be. And it pushed me more to engage in it as if it were a conversation and not just shouting out points we had each individually studied. So thank you so much to the opposing team, and thanks to the organizers for the debate.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bhargava of Jindal Global University.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible. I am in complete agreement with my co-counsel that it was indeed an engaging conversation and discussion in a one-sided narration of our preparations. Accordingly, the topic this time round was the most nuanced we've had so far. And accordingly, we had to invent new research tactics and we had to anticipate arguments. And yet, the opposing counsels were able to weave the narratives in a way which was not only slightly difficult for us to navigate, but also very persuasive. So I'll give them that for sure. And that's something we hope to emulate in our future debates as well. And yeah, all in all, I think we all thoroughly enjoyed the discussion today. So thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you very much. And as we also have the coaches for the teams present on the call, I would like to give you the floor. If there are words of encouragement, it is days free for the two teams. You have also met in the friendlies. So on that note, perhaps for the Jindal Global University mentoring team, if you can just join us with audio, if there's words of encouragement for the two teams you might have.
Absolutely. At the very outset, we congratulate both the teams for the fantastic performance that they've had today. We are extremely proud, not just of our team, but for the presentation that Italy has also given today. We expected nothing short. I mean, we had seen a glimpse of this during our practice rounds as well. And truth be told, I believe this was the most anticipated match that we've had. And I don't think either of the teams pulled out or they failed. They didn't fail to pull out any of the stops. They're all fantastic, and we hope to engage with them once again in the future, hopefully in a more competitive way and in the same position and hopefully we get to work on multiple other projects together. We wish both the teams the very best. And we also like to thank the organizers for actually having us represent the university in only our second appearance, and to go against such a qualified team as the University of Bologna has been an incredible teaching moment, not just for our debaters but also for us as coaches, because they have given us such a deep insight into how debating works, how this entire format curates itself, and we're just really happy to be a part of this experience, and we genuinely wish the best for both the organizers and for the university as well. So thank you so much, and please have a good day.
Thank you very much, truly. And for Mr. Molinelli, as one of the coaches for the University of Bologna.
Thank you very much. Truly, I would like to begin by thanking the organizers for exposing our teams, both ours and the honorable team from the OP Jindal Global University, to like such an interesting topic. I have to say that as a coach, one learns a bunch as well. So truly, it was amazing. I congratulate to the opposing team. They did an amazing job. They have long trajectory of doing an amazing job in this competition, actually. So truly an honor and a pleasure to be able to engage with all of you again. And finally, just very happy about my team's performance as well. And I hope to be able to see all of you in the next in the following stages of this HAG tournament. So thank you very much to everyone.
Yes, sir. And as you already know from day one and day two, we usually do a bit of exchange outside of the debate itself towards the end. And on that note, I would just like to pose two questions to the teams right now. You can answer as a group, or you can choose which of your members would start. So the first question would be, over the 3 days that you have had in the group phase, from the start to the finish, also for yourselves, the friendlies, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out for the support, and perhaps just for maybe also one of the teams that you have participated with in the previous matches? So first, for the University of Bologna.
I can say something for sure. First of all, they're already here, but shout out to my team for the practice sessions, but also the consolation sessions and giving support to each other. And shout out to my friends from university and my parents who have to listen to me tell them about shipwrecks and the law that governs them for half an hour when I don't think they have much interest in that, but they listen nonetheless. So thank you to them, to my coaches, and obviously to my teammates.
For your colleagues, if you would like to add.
Well, I feel the same as my colleague Alessandro. I feel like uh, participating in this team has been a wonderful experience of how we help each other, how we study together for the debates. Our coaches as well. We wouldn't be here without their help. They have been amazing. And I would say even even our opponent teams as well, because we also saw their matches, and we feel like it incentivizes us to try and do better, especially in this instance where we had already had a friendly match together. So for my part, I feel like it's this.
Well, also, it's a great honor from my side as well. It was a great pleasure to meet, to work with my teammates, and it was a great experience to learn, or in general, for all these 3 matches we had. We learned a lot about how people are trying to defend their points, how differently they're trying to defend the points from different countries. We're merging together and we're having these matches, and it was a huge experience from my side. And once again, it was a great honor to face with the opponent team again. I think it was one of the great experiences in my life. Thank you.
Let's now passing the floor to Jindal Global University. Who would you like to give a shout out to having from the friendlies to day 3? Again, perhaps your opponents, your coaches, your mentors, family.
Thank you so much. I'll be speaking on behalf of all of us. And first and foremost, I'd like to give a shout out to all of our competitors so far. From our friendlies to today's match, Italy, particularly for the composure they have and the expertise with which they deliver all their dispositions. It's been a learning curve for us. Talent for their neighborliness, in the sense that the match was a genuine conversation, and even the feedback session was a wonderful networking interaction in that sense. Bhutan for their assertiveness and their competitive spirit, and we took away a lot from that too. I would like to extend thanks in particular to Professor Daniel Stein, because he shared his expertise on maritime law and admiralty law with us to understand and dissect the topic and gain a comprehensive understanding as to what is it the motion is asking for. And I extend my warmest gratitude to our coaches. They have been there for us and unwaveringly supported us, not only in terms of our delivery, our competition prep, but also logistically, they've always ensured that we have all the resources that we need to perform our best. And last but not the least, my teammates, because even though we speak in silos, we always work together, and we've always pulled each other up in that sense. And on a personal note, I have learned and taken away a lot from my teammates. So thank you for that, and thank you for the opportunity for this wonderful platform for us to engage in these discussions, which fall within the realm of law but don't necessarily crop up in our coursework. So thank you to the organizers. Thank you to our honorable judges. That'd be it.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And final question, and we wrap up for today's session, is there perhaps a particular legal system, institution, or country with the case law or with the approach to legal system that you would like to study or experience? Perhaps it's an area that you have encountered over the day 1 to day 3. Perhaps it's from your coursework, or just a general inspiration for yourselves as professionals going forward? And if so, what it is, and if you maybe can share also a reason. But very briefly, and first again to you, Bologna University of Bologna.
If I can go, I think coming from South Africa, I was quite astounded by the way I never had really studied European law, particularly of the European Union, and I was quite surprised at the way it works and how it came about. And I'm particularly interested to see how it interacts with other blocs and nations, especially in what we could call a very tumultuous time for the international community. I'm into, and the interest in that sort of led me to constitutionalism as well, what exactly it means to have national constitutions, how this has implications for international constitutions should they exist. But I don't have a particular nation or jurisdiction I'd like to operate in. I'm a bit of a nomad, so I'm very open to moving to different places and exploring those legal systems as well.
Well, from my side, I'm from Turkey, so it's quite similar with the European system. Now I'm currently doing my master's degree. So the system was not something new for me, even though Turkey is not part of the European Union yet. On the other hand, I have interest on the American law system because it's quite different than what I know. More or less in the European law system, it's all written. So what you're writing is more important than what you're saying. But on the other hand, in the American system, it's a bit different on that sense. So I'm curious about it, but it doesn't mean that I want to work in that field. It's just a curiosity, because what I'm not expert, what I'm trying to become an expert in is more or less European law.
Well, on my part, I come from Brazil, which is a country with a civil law system and very, very similar to the Italian civil law system, actually based on the Italian one. So I feel like I can say there is a sort of a connection between the two countries. But what I would like to study further is common law systems, not just in a specific country, but to me, it's a concept that sounds quite foreign, if I can say that. And also, as my colleague mentioned, the European Union law, it's very, very different, it's very unique. So from my outside perspective, it's also quite interesting to study. However, I do have to say that I feel most comfortable in my own country system. I like studying that. I'm used to that, and uh, I just really enjoy how it works. So I would say I would prefer to work on my own country.
Okay, and same question to OP Jindal Global University team.
Thank you. With respect to my interests in law, I find a practice sitting at the juncture of insolvency and real estate law quite compelling. So, in that sense, I hope to acquire more vocational training in that regard. Also, one thing about real estate is the highly localized and regional practice. So, my future endeavors are centered around studying and staying in India, gaining a more granular understanding of how this transaction works, and how in various states, what are the laws pertaining to such transactional such transactions due diligence. So that being said, even like the current framework for the real estate, the statutes we have, the gradation throughout states, I find it particularly interesting, and that's a unique thing of the present legal framework we have in India. So my future plans do involve in gaining an in-depth understanding of all of this.
Passing to your colleagues
Hello,
if you wanted.
am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. So for me personally, my field of interest definitely is international law, as evidently by me participating and pursuing this competition as well. Be it investment and trade, be it IP, be it commercial arbitration, I am interested in the basic idea of a transnational system that governs more than just one state and the tussle of the same with a sovereign system. This is where my interests lie, which is why I also do not want to limit myself to one specific country or one specific block's legal frameworks. I personally want to learn, whether as a student, as a researcher, academician, or as an associate somewhere. I do want to interact with different legal regimes of different countries, blocks, unions. So that's my future plan as of now. Let's hope to see if it goes in that direction. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Sorry, just a moment. Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. So, similar to Sai Prasad, my interests are also in international law. And one of the countries that I do want to pursue further study in, or maybe even work in, would be the UK, because the UK has a common law system that is quite similar to India's. So in that aspect, UK also has a very strong tie to the UN and to international bodies as a whole, which is why that is where I would like to see myself in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And once again, well done. And one very big congratulations for being the first teams to wrap up day 3 in your group phase. Passing the floor to Professor Laurent to close us off.
Yes, well done. And of course, we are looking forward to get the results for your match, of course. We'll inform you as well about what comes after the group phase, because it will be a networking moment as well with all the teams of all the groups, all those that you have seen as well in videos yourself of the 3 days of match. So that will come after, of course, this week. And obviously, want to tell that it was great to have spent these 3 sessions with each team. So thank you very much, and we keep in touch, of course, and wish you a great rest of the week. So thank you and bye bye.